Hey everyone, Ben Cooper Radio, episode number 91. Oh, do a little song. I don't know, I just feel like it. Anyway, I'll stop there because I'm obviously really bad at singing. Rachel's already got her hands over her ears on the Skype machine. Morning, Rachel Guy. Well, morning for me anyway.
Good afternoon, Ben Cooper. How are you?
BenCoomer.com is very well. He's back refreshed from a holiday. Surfing,
That's right.
eating. Yeah, it was good. I'm back in the zit. Do you know the problem with going on holiday? Well, the problem I have with going on holiday, you get so much headspace, you get so creative, you come back with such a colossal to-do list. You're just like, oh, I've got to catch up on everything else, and then I've got to do the to-do list. I mean, I thought of some wicked stuff. I got someone to go over everything that I do and all my websites and loads of stuff, and I got loads of cool stuff to do. But yeah, it was good time.
That's awesome. Like I have to say, I'm off to Europe next week, so I'm fully in wind down mode. Now it's been a pretty stressful couple of weeks for me, so I've been opposite to you. You know what it's like just before you go away somewhere. Like everything just seems to ramp up. You know, I've been purely running off adrenaline. I've been doing a couple of shoots, so trying to diet and train really hard for that. You know, business is very busy, and I've got a lot of projects on the go. So it's all been go, 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 and it's now time for me to take some time out. So I'm very much looking forward to my trip. I am off to Marbella for 2 weeks, and then I'm off to France for 2 weeks. So it's going to be really good fun. I'm very much looking forward to it, and it's not just a holiday. Obviously, I'll be doing some work whilst I'm over there, but yeah, it's gonna be good.
Ah, jet setting. I mean, obviously, right. I've been as busy with you as you with photo shoots and stuff. Obviously, I've done a bit of Grazia and thrown in a quick one for men's health and stuff. But I just keep that stuff on the down low. I don't want to brag about it.
Oh, Ben. Let's not go there.
Nice to see you're sporting a Jack Wills t-shirt today. Not that people listening can hear it.
This is my favourite. Look at the back of it.
Do you know these Jack Wills characters aren't listening to our pleas for a show sponsor? I mean, what? I mean, it's a no-brainer to me.
Seriously, we are like pure Jack Wills kids. We are university trained. We are as preppy as they come. Like we are pure Jack Wills guys and girls. Like, this is what we live in. So come on, Jack Wills. We'd really like you on our show.
Yeah, let's not beg. It's not cool. Talking of sponsors, do you know what? I was having a conversation with who is it? Ollie Matthews, because we were catching up after Body Power because I met him for the first time in person. He lives quite close to me, about an hour away, so we wanted to sort of touch base and stuff. And we were talking about like sponsorship and stuff, and how he was talking to this company and how he's doing different things. And I thought, and he goes, "You must get this stuff all the time." And I was like, "Actually, I don't. So I never get asked if I'll like sponsor this or that kind of stuff. I mean, I've been asked by nearly like a good handful of the protein and supplement companies in the UK to sort of get on board with them and be their nutritionist, but no one ever really sort of comes to me and sort of says, "Oh, will you sponsor this or endorse this?" And I think maybe it's because when I first started this podcast, I said, "Look, I'm a guy, I will not shout or support anything unless I genuinely believe in it." And perhaps all the companies that ask you for this kind of sponsorship and this promotion are all the ones that are trying to peddle, junk and crap like Herbicide and Juice Plus and all this BS. I don't know. I just think it's weird.
Let's not even go there on those multi-level marketing things. I think we both know.
We've both hammered that iron.
We've both had a fair good rant online about that, and let's just leave it at that, shall we? But no, it is funny, it particularly is. This podcast has now gone global, and we are very international, and they get a lot of traction as well. We have a lot of listeners, and it would be nice so that let's put it out there, dear sponsors, if you would like to sponsor the Ben Coomer podcast with me, Athletic Fox, Rachel Guy, we would love to hear from you.
Yeah, feel free to get in touch. And if you don't get an email back, it's probably because you're selling Herbicide. I don't know. Anyway,
we'll just put that's as blunt as it gets, right?
Yeah, it is. I suppose a couple of things from me, a few little updates. The BTN Academy is, well, everyone knows it opens twice a year. We are now launching another year's worth of education. For me, this is big news. I'm really excited. I think the Body Type Nutrition Academy is an incredible education tool, but we're now developing a 10-month-long advanced program, and this will be looking at more kind of functional medicine. It will be looking at cardiovascular. How do you deal with people with like cardiovascular disease, diabetes? How do you look at prenatal nutrition, nutrition for depression, all this kind of stuff where most coaches kind of look at it and go, man, I have no idea how to deal with this. And we're not going to teach you and say, look, you are now a functional medicine practitioner. You are now very qualified to deal with this stuff. For us, the course is going to be about actually making you aware of all these in-depth parameters and maybe giving you more of a skill set to deal with it, but not becoming almost like a functional medicine practitioner. So the cost for entry for people to learn about this stuff will be way lower. Alex Manos, Body Type Nutrition's new functional medicine practitioner, will be teaching this kind of stuff because he is a genius, way cleverer than me. So I'm really excited about that. And then we're developing a 2-month-long foundation program to make sure that everyone that comes into the Normal Academy kind of knows everything. Everyone's at the same playing field, because I think we've got about a good 20 to 30% of the academy this year which are quite like really new to nutrition. And some of them are kind of struggling with some of the calls and, you know, digesting a lot of the information. So we thought, right, we'll put together a foundation program. Then people can make the decision whether they take that foundation program or not and bring themselves up to speed. So we'll essentially have a 2-year-long kind of diploma very soon. So more concrete details will be coming of that in about 3 to 4 weeks once you're finished putting together the program. Because the foundation program will launch at the beginning of August, so not too long.
Very exciting.
It is.
It's very exciting. You know what? There's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes when you're launching a program like this as well. It's not just there's the idea and then the implementation, and the implementation and the content development for any program is substantial. And when you've got a 2-year program, there is a hell of a lot of work that goes in behind that. So credit to you, like hats off to you. That's a lot of work.
My hat is off. Why, thank you.
I'm very proud of you. That's good job.
Another thing is, if there are any female coaches listening to this podcast in the UK and you think you're a fantastic female nutrition coach, then my company that I run with Ben Gray, Ditch the Diet, which is kind of like Weight Watchers but way cooler and actually teaches people stuff. If you would like to apply as a coach, we're now accepting new coaches. Now we've developed a concrete system, we've developed a welcome pack, a strategy. It's absolutely bullet tight, watertight in terms of a franchise. Then get in touch now, because soon we'll be charging a franchise fee and it'll be a bit more businessy and all the rest of it. So if you go to ditchthedietuk.com, you can click on the tab to become a coach. So it's all happening, and it's all happening.
Wait, there's more. Tell me about TDT.
Yeah, if anyone listening to this podcast is a big fan of TDT and you like the products and you recommend them to clients, you can now join an affiliate program. We have an affiliate program and you will earn moolah at 20% by recommending your clients to, as a thank you for recommending it. So you have to be a coach or a trainer or have a network. It's not... it's something that will benefit you and your business and almost be like a bit of a second income. So if you want to get any more details of that, if you email info@transdermaltechnology.co.uk, you can sign up to become an affiliate, help us grow what we think are some incredible products and earn a little bit of extra money for your business.
And is that only for UK coaches, or is that available worldwide as well?
Only UK coaches, because we are not international as yet. We will soon be launching in Australia in a couple of weeks' time. Australia. but Europe and other countries will be soon to follow, and it will follow. It's just, again, it takes time. You've got to set up the right people. We've actually got to find distributors and people to work with. It's not like you can't just launch in Europe. You need people to work with to help you grow it, to potentially take on the license, to market the market the products, and that kind of thing. So this stuff takes a lot of time. So we're working on it. Don't worry, we're working on it.
Awesome to hear. And a little dicky bird tells me that you're looking to hold a conference this year.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, we're not really. That dicky bird was a dicky bird. It was secret squirrel, top secret. But yeah, the first ever Body Type Nutrition conference will happen in September. It will be a Sunday. It will be a full day of learning. There'll be about 10 lectures throughout the whole day. It'll be intense. It'll be loads of education. We're really excited about it. We want it to grow into something huge. But I'll give you more details in probably about 2 weeks. That's probably when I'm ready. Again, these things take time.
Yeah, everything's taking a lot of time, and I've just launched some pretty big projects over here in Australia. So, like I said, I've been head down, bum up, trying to get stuff done, build out some content. So I guess my biggest project that I've launched recently is the Sports Model Project, and that is a 12-week body transformation, obviously. And I have taken in 40 girls who fit specific criteria, and we're going to be training them 4 times a week. And the overall prize is that Ultimate Sports Nutrition have got involved with this. They've actually sponsored the program, and they are offering a 12-month contract with them. And obviously there's magazine covers involved and a few other promotional campaigns. So it's a massive prize, and I'm really excited about it because it's something I've wanted to do for so long. Just take girls from a really good level of training to take them to the next level. I didn't expect it. I have to admit, I didn't expect it to be so big, which is why I was targeting 25 girls initially, but we've actually got 40 in the program. So it's been a massive task getting everything together and getting everything organized. But that's now finally launched, which is awesome, and that's at a gym in Bondi. And eventually, my goal is to bring that worldwide. So it'll be coming to a gym near you. Maybe within the next 6 months, definitely within the next year. So probably 2015, I'll be launching that and rolling that out all over the place. And obviously, my membership site is still growing, the Athletic Fox Blueprint, and the Athletic Fox Blueprint is designed more to install a little bit of balance back into the lives of busy women. So, Ben, it's exactly like what you do. It's no extreme dieting. It's about a lifestyle and building a lifestyle around, a lean and healthy body. So we're so on the same wavelength with these things. And that's what the membership site does. So those are kind of my 2 projects at the moment. And like I said, it's been all work and no play. So very much looking forward to my holiday.
Nice. I'm a little bit upset your 12-week program is female only, because I would have liked to see myself on the front cover of a magazine. I might have entered. I'm probably ready for that next level, obviously, standard.
Let me give you a little bit of an insight here. I've actually spoken to the guys at Men's Fitness today, and I may well be teaming up with, obviously, a couple of guys over here in Australia and running a male version as well. So watch this space.
Oh, count Ben Coomber in.
Okay, well, Ben Coomber, you're our ambassador in the UK. We'll turn you from scrawny to brawny. Just kidding. You didn't find that funny?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was funny. Anyway, it's not going to be called scrawny to brawny, but you know what I mean. We're going to take some fit guys and turn them into really, really fit. So
I could do looking really, really fit, yeah.
You already do. I've seen you with your shirt off. Come on.
Oh,
and he's blushing.
Oh, he's blushing. Right, we've been rabbling on for 14 minutes now on what most people would consider absolute drivel.
Apologies, people. Apologies.
Yeah, we apologise. I'm sorry. Okay. We better get round to the aim of the show, which is talking about some like food and fitness stuff.
Let's do it. Okay, first question. This is from Ash. Hello, Ben. Loving the podcast and up to episode 21. Hey, listen, buddy, you've got some serious catching up to do if you're only on episode 21.
Yeah, get your shit together, man.
Come on, Ash. So anyway, he said, really enjoying yours and also Phil Looney's material. Good old Phil Looney. He's a really good friend of the show. We were just talking about him earlier. In episode 18, which was launched on the 30th of January 2013, you answered a question regarding your advice on increasing knowledge and getting qualified in fitness and nutrition. With it being such a fast-moving industry and the fact that I'm only just starting my journey, I would like to pose the same question to you a year down the line with regard to a nutrition certification and fitness certification. With regard to the fitness side, I'm looking at doing a strength conditioning degree. Your thoughts? Apologies if this has come up in a later episode. If that is the case, I would be hugely grateful for your reply to the email rather than including this on the podcast. As always, many thanks and all the best, Ash.
I thought this was an interesting question because it kind of looked at the S&C side of things, and I haven't really sort of approached the subject of S&C. And seeing as you are now a fixture and a fitting of this podcast, Rachel, I thought I would involve your S&C based educational knowledge. Because I think, you know, there's obviously a huge amount of people. I mean, there's a handful of people probably, on this podcast that have kind of almost been inspired by the podcast and have actually entered into the fitness industry as a result of that. And I think that's fantastic. Like, if I can inspire people to jump industries, I think that's brilliant because I'm getting more people on board to help other people get healthier. And as a whole, we're trying to get more people healthier, which is great. In terms of nutrition education, I mean, I'd personally like to think that once we finish the BTN diploma, it will be such a strong 2-year program that it will just take everyone right from a real basic level right the way through to a really advanced level. And every time people ask me, the most common question I get against the Body Type Nutrition Academy is, how does your program compare to the Precision Nutrition program? Now, Precision Nutrition is a company that I respect hugely. I recommend their courses all the time. I quite often say to people, look, if you have no idea about nutrition, go and do the Precision Nutrition certification, then come to the BTN Academy, or maybe do the Check Holistic Lifestyle Coaching course and then come to the BTN Academy, because for me, the Academy is all about practical application of theory. So tonight, for example, as I record this, tonight I'm doing an Academy call on case studies. So I've taken 2 clients, I've done the whole assessments with photos, and I've said, look, what am I getting from the assessment here? What am I getting from the assessment there? What am I taking away from this program? What am I missing that's not obvious? Okay, so what training program did I give them? What nutrition program did I give them? Why? What supplements? How did I structure their diet? Why did I do this? Because it's great learning all this theory, but when you look at an individual, it can often be very hard to contextualize all this information and go, well, I still don't know what this person needs. So I just, you know, and to get very specific and individualized, you need to go through quite a few case studies to kind of start to join the dots, because otherwise you kind of go, well, I could use this here and I could use that there, and well, what if they need this, but they've got this problem. So for me, the Body Type Nutrition Academy goes through loads of theory, but it's always applied. We're always saying, well, how do we apply it to this client and that client and a female and someone who's old and someone who trains and someone who's an athlete and all this kind of stuff, because otherwise it doesn't help us become better coaches. It just helps us become more knowledgeable coaches. So hopefully with the foundation stuff, we'll kind of cover the stuff that people have no idea about. It'll be a bit of an intensive short course. And then the advanced stuff will obviously get really geeky. So don't get me wrong, I really like Precision Nutrition. I value it. I think it's a great qualification, but I think it's a bit more theory-based. I think we are much more practically applied in how we're delivering information. We also have a very interactive learning environment. We have the Facebook pages, we have the live calls, we have the Q&A sessions. As coming this October, we'll also have a mentorship package, so everyone will get a mentor, which they'll be able to speak to every month. So we're constantly refining what we're doing and making it better. In terms of other nutrition qualifications, Heather, one of my Body Type Nutrition coaches, she really likes the GB fitness programs, I think, which are taught by I'm going to butcher his name, I think, but Kane Leatham. Very clever guy. He also writes in a magazine that I do, Functional Sports Nutrition. Very clever dude. I can imagine his program is very good. And then you've obviously got ISSN, which is fantastic. It's quite advanced. It's very science-based. So I definitely think ISSN is a platform to move on to after my academy. I think if you've done the ISSM program, you'll know almost a lot more in depth some of the stuff that we go over, but we're trying to look to practically apply it more. And in terms of strength and conditioning, in terms of a degree, I think if you want to work in elite sport, then a degree is something that's very important. They'll look for that. These days, a degree isn't enough. You need to be looking to do a master's, potentially do a PhD, because Premiership rugby teams, Premiership football teams, these are elite at sport. Everyone's, there's tons of people with an S&C degree. How are you going to define yourself? And doing a master's and a PhD, a lot of the time, unfortunately, this is how the clubs are seeing you defining yourself. Because I don't work in strength and conditioning a whole lot, I don't have a huge exposure to the kind of courses that are out there. I mean, Rachel, do you know of courses that you would really recommend and respect and advise people on?
If I'm really honest here, a lot of my strength conditioning background has come from mentorships and private internships. So I've spent a lot of time traveling the world and spending a lot of time with strength coaches. And if I'm really honest, that's where I've really learned strength conditioning. Mm-hmm. I've obviously textbooks as well. I spent a lot of time in my early days reading textbooks. And then this is what experience is. And you've just talked about it. It's the practical application of the theory, which makes a really good coach. There can be, and this is the problem with the internet, there can be so many internet warriors out there who are very knowledgeable, but unfortunately you put them in front of a client and they don't know what to do. So I would agree. I think a strength conditioning degree is a fantastic degree to have. I think it's certainly something that you do need the knowledge in, particularly if you want to work in elite level sport.
I think, as a side note, while you mention it, I think people would really have to do their due diligence in the quality of the program taught at the university.
Absolutely.
I did sports performance and coaching, and the degree program that they teach now at my university is like, I've seen it because I'm good friends with my old tutor, and it's like 10 times better than the program that I did, like just miles above it. So you've really got to dissect the program that they actually teach, because just because it says S&C doesn't mean it will really translate into some really good learning that you're going to get.
Absolutely. And that's one thing over here in Australia. We have over in Perth, Edith Cowan University, which has a strength conditioning master's, postgrad, and a big department there. And Dan Baker, who is one of the he's the strength coach for the Broncos. He is one of the smartest strength coaches that I've ever known. And I actually did my Australian strength conditioning certifications under him. And he's very funny, but he's just got this way of coaching and way of teaching, which is unbelievable. So it's not just the course, it's the quality of the coaches and the teachers and the lecturers.
Definitely.
That can bring their own personal experience. So, all of these things are really important. And I think the first thing is why do you want to go into strength conditioning? Is it because it's just a cool name and now everybody's a personal trainer? Because this is one thing that is, quite prevalent in the industry. I mean, I'll fully admit I don't do much strength coaching anymore. Obviously, I work on Wimp to Warrior, which is my MMA TV show, and my role on that is head strength coach, head of strength conditioning. And that's all I do on that show. But in my day job with Athletic Fox, I'm a personal trainer. I'm a psychologist, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a motivational speaker. God, I play many hats and many roles. So really, I'm not really a strength conditioning coach anymore. I'm almost far-fetched from that. But why do you want to go into strength conditioning? Is it because you have a passion for that? And if so, start surrounding yourself with the right people, start looking at private internships and mentors within your particular sport. My particular sport was rugby and mixed martial arts. So I actively sought out the best coaches in those areas, and I paid to spend time with them. And, if it's one of those things I'll be really honest here, unless you're working at an elite level in strength conditioning, if you're talking about it from a business perspective, it's not well paid. I'll talk about the downsides here too, because this is important. You're married to the team. There's often a lot of pressure on you, and it's not as glamorous as everybody thinks it is. That's all I'll say. So you've got to really be passionate and absolutely love your sport and love what you're doing if you want to work in an elite level sport. You don't do it for the business side of it.
No, I mean, you will earn good money if you get to the top, but anything below the top, you're kind of looking at 24 to 32k a year in most sporting setups. Obviously, the sport, depending on the sport, will govern a higher fee because of the kind of sponsorship money that's involved in it, like football compared to rugby, for example. But yeah, I mean, but most people won't do it for, you know, the financial reward. They'll do it for the love of the game. You know, when I used to work in the gym side of things at rugby clubs, you know, when I was at Hull KR, you know, the buzz of a Saturday on game day was incredible. You know, going out with the team, being on the sideline, being in front of, you know, 40 to 60,000 people, you know, amazing, like really, really, really good. But you know, after a while, you're like, well, I'm tied to this job. I've got to be here every, you know, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday night, and Saturday day. It became very unsociable. So huge amount of pros and cons. But I think if I was to if you wanted to work in elite sport, I think doing a strength and conditioning degree is essential. Doing a master's is then essential. Getting then qualified by the UKSCA is then essential. It's kind of the gold standard in the UK. I'm sure it will spread to be wider afield. If you were looking to just be a PT, I personally think that from what I've seen and what I've analysed, and yes, granted, they have put some of my nutrition education as part of their foundation level coursework. Future in Fitness seem to be the best kind of company that are doing level 2 and level 3 training, also because they bolt on things like mentorship. They teach you about business more and stuff like that, which I think is really, really important. And then obviously looking at maybe doing the UKSCA certification again. Doing people's courses that you really like and respect. So like Andy McKenzie and his bodyweight training, I think is fantastic. Looking at people like Brett Contreras' work, looking at some of the Poliquin training, strength and conditioning principles, you know, looking at these kind of people and how they train and stuff, I think would actually make you a really good practitioner. So they're probably the two routes that I would choose, whether you're looking at more the exercise or the nutrition route. And that's my opinion.
100%, and I'd say exactly the same thing. Look at what other courses are doing, and you know, do the generic courses. You know, the Poliquin courses are great. You know, there's a lot to be learned from those, particularly if you're just starting out in the industry. There's a lot that you will learn from that, and I think that's. I mean, you've pretty much covered everything. You took the words out of my mouth again, but that was pretty much everything that I was going to say. Is just become very good at training people. And perhaps you start out in personal training, because I could tell you now, most strength coaches that I know at an elite level, they all started out as personal trainers, you know, and getting very good at training people, get to know the body inside and out, get very good at the technical lifts, know how to modify and regress them, progress them, and all the modifications that go with that. And essentially, that's what strength conditioning is. It's the practical application of the knowledge.
I think if I was to offer one last tip, and this is just from my work and observations, learn at being a really good compromiser. Learn how to give people the best possible program, plan, tip, advice that requires the least amount of effort and the least amount of input. Because in elite sport, people are genetically gifted. They already have a lot going for them. They already look good physically. They already perform well. So actually get them to do some of the strict programming that you'd like them to do compared to a normal everyday client or a client that I might have who would be very motivated to do things. You won't have that. You know, you won't be able to get them to eat everything that you want them to eat. You won't get them in the gym 3-4 days a week. You won't get them to bed on time. So you have to have some real good tricks up your sleeve of the best compromises to get the most out of their fitness and health application.
Totally. Compromise, exactly. I mean, you could spend hours periodizing this beautiful plan for, let's talk about rugby. And then all of a sudden, your head coach will come in and say, well, the dates have changed. So you periodize based around peak week. And it's all of a sudden, it's all changed. Because obviously head coach says that this is what goes, or one of your star players is injured. And there are so many things that you have to work with and juggle. So, you know, you're out. Trust me, it's happened to me. Your hours of hard work just gets thrown out the window. Very frustrating. But there we go. Anyway, I think we're done with that question.
We are.
Awesome. Next one. This is from Andrew Wilson. Hello, I have a question about training for a cycling event. This weekend, I competed in a DH cycling race, which consisted of a 6-hour practice day, which was 12 by 3 minutes of high-intensity runs on the Saturday, followed by a 2-hour similar practice on the Sunday. and then a couple of hours before the final 2 race runs in the afternoon. I found on the Saturday I had plenty of power and energy, but on the Sunday I felt totally depleted, and I didn't compete as well as I could have done on the Sunday. However, I need to practice at the speed of the race run. I have been training for the past year in the gym with resistance training and also on the bike. This has also seen me understanding what the body needs through nutrition and also for recovery. I have seen some amazing improvements in strength and power over this time, but I would like to be able to access this power over the 2 days. What would your advice for me be on how I can recover and feel less tired for the second day? My initial thoughts that I need to train that I can use more performing my max more often, possibly by training over consecutive days with intense sprint cycling. Any advice would be great.
Yeah, this is a cool question, and it's really nice to see a cyclist getting in the gym and getting stronger, because
I was just about to say that.
They need it. They need it. Every endurance athlete I've ever coached, I've had them in the gym twice a week. A lot of, some upper body stuff, but a good 70% of the program on the lower body. A lot of single leg work, like pistol squats, Bulgarian split squats, explosive plyometric work if they can, heavy ass deadlifts and squats. It's just so important for getting really tight on the bike, keeping the knees close, getting in your power position, and being able to really drive nice and tightly. So if you're a cyclist listening to this and you don't get in the gym, get in the gym. In terms of nutritional advice, I think I would have a few key things that are absolutely paramount. So getting, especially leading up to hard competition time, definitely increasing the amount of creatine that's in your diet. Supplement wise, I'd probably be on about 15 grams a day, taken in 3 doses, spread throughout the day. You mentioned training more like you compete. Definitely, you need to be able to handle your training environment more often, and also you need to practice it so that it doesn't throw you as much. So if you train on a Monday, rest on a Tuesday, train again on a Wednesday, and you're always getting good rest, you're never really prepared for your competition. So you need to put yourself through a hard environment, so when it gets to competition day, you're ready. It's as simple as that. You just need to be more ready. I would obviously make sure that you're really getting your carb amount right across the whole of the weekend, maybe on the race, on the bike as well. But a huge thing for me, and this is big time in cyclists, and this is big time in anyone that does high volume work in a short space of time, is magnesium and zinc concentrations. I'm going to blatantly pimp what I created, but recovery spray would be freaking perfect for you. I'm serious. Saturday, as soon as you finish, that stuff should be all over your legs, and then again that night I would actually have a full body Epsom salt bath. So I would use it. I would use my spray post race. I would then have another Epsom salt bath, and if I'm not really sure if you you have the 2 race runs in the afternoon, so it sounds like you have a break. You need recovery spray on after your first race, before your second race. You need to be clued up on your carbohydrate timing. You need to be clued up on your caffeine dosing before both bouts. And that's just going to be really, really important. Otherwise, if you don't have enough magnesium stored in your muscles, you're not going to produce ATP properly. You're not going to metabolize energy in the mitochondria properly. And this is why magnesium is such an issue in sport, and why it's become so popular to supplement with it, because it freaking works and no one's getting enough of it. It's as simple as that. We've been taking oral ZMA for probably 40 years. It was a supplement that bodybuilders have been taking for ages, and people have been getting good results off taking ZMA. But fortunately, or unfortunately, there's a better way to take it, and transdermal absorption of magnesium and zinc is more effective. It's clear cut. Only 10 to 14% of oral magnesium and zinc makes it through the gut and absorbed into the muscle tissue. So we're losing an awful lot. So for me, creatine, magnesium and zinc, carb timing, prep your races more intelligently in your training so you can prepare for it. Make sure your sleep is optimal. Maybe power nap between for 20 minutes between the two races on the Sunday if you can. And from the information you've given me, that would be my advice.
Well said, Benny. I have nothing more to add.
Lovely.
Next.
Next.
Seriously. Next, I have nothing more to add to that one, except I do need to get a magnesium out for one of my clients for tomorrow. So thank you for reminding me.
That's what I'm here for, Rachel.
Thank you. You're like my PA as well. Amazing. Okay, this is quite a long-winded question, but I think it's an important one. So this is from Graham. Hi, Ben. I hope you're well. And I just wanted to say I have really enjoyed getting into your podcast, and I would like to hear your thoughts on training and nutrition. What I didn't realise is that you had gone through such a progressive journey to get to where you are until I read your post on the 8 years of change and how it's all been a learning process for you. It is great to hear that you are promoting fitness as a long, slow journey rather than a quick fix. I have also been going through a journey over the last 10 years. I had lower back problems through school and rugby, and then developed into a weak left side with my glutes, hamstrings, and back. This seemed to progress through college, where I also contracted some sort of digestion problem, which I've never really shaken off. However, I carried on playing rugby and tried to do sport to the best of my ability, which isn't great. I just got more damage down the left side. I now have a horribly tight left glute, which has led me to a weak groin, meaning that when I run, my left leg seizes up and it's quite painful. In my mid-20s, I played a sevens tournament and got smashed on my head three times and again without seeing a professional. And without seeing a professional, my muscles in my traps, lats, rotator cuff are all repaired incorrectly. I then went on to continue pushing weights and tighten my pectoral area up even further, leading to poor posture, and then left shoulder rolling forward, tightening everything up in my back even more. I started to see professionals about 8 or 9 months down the road, but every professional I saw had a different opinion of what I should do, and nothing seemed to work. 3 years later, and numerous physios and PTs, I finally found a physio who actually moved, massaged, and penetrated the tight areas to free them up and also get the blood flowing to the area. I have started using another PT company who have done wonders in slowly and surely building up strength and correcting the posture back into my body. I have recently started seeing a sports masseuse who started working on freeing up the glutes, groin, and getting all of the knots out of my back. Sorry for the long-winded message. However, my point is that instead of breaking an arm and having a quick fix and finding a quick fix, I really did damage to my body from a young age, and there was no support system or education at school to tell me that my posture is bad and I had weaknesses in certain areas, which will in the long run lead to more injuries down the line. And then, where do you go to find professional help? Whether it's the NHS or private, they don't seem to be able to fix you or help you. I'm also talking about my dad, who has been plagued with injury from a bad skiing accident, rugby, and bad posture. We've been to Canada a few times, and the physios over there seem to be way ahead of the game, and they've really helped my dad. I was hoping that you might do a podcast about rehabilitation and how to find the right help. The body of something that 99% of people don't understand, and that we would like to hear from physios. And what we hear from physios and doctors, we take as gospel without actually knowing whether they'll benefit us. I have jumped around from person to person, and just through coincidence, I found the correct team to get me back to square one. It is a stressful and tiring process that has kept me up many a night. The digestion problem hasn't helped at all, as there have been many embarrassing stories on that one, and I would love to hear more about how you can sort yourself out. How you sorted yourself out with yours when numerous doctors have just told me I have IBS, which I don't believe is correct. I've tried gluten-free, juice diets to reset my body, no caffeine, etc., etc. And I believe it is more about my poor posture, increased pressure on my gut, and not enough oxygen being in there to process food correctly. But again, it would be great to hear your thoughts. Sorry again for the long-winded message. I think there is a message in here for you to hopefully talk and reply to. Any information would be great and really helpful. Sincerely, Graham.
Wow. Yeah, see,
I think this is like, let me start. This is probably the best question we've ever had on a podcast.
well, bold statement. Jeez.
Coming from a physio, I am a physio. For those of you who don't know, I am a physiotherapist. I studied at University of Birmingham and I worked in the NHS when I graduated for 18 months. So there's a little insight here. So this is a great question. Off you go. Fire away.
Well, I thought this was really good because I think, you know, it does play into a lot of the stories that I've had on a personal level, but I think we're clouded by a huge amount of issues here. And one of the biggest issues I see on a physical level with the people that I coach, God, the people in my rugby team, the people online, all sorts of things, is people really struggle to get to the bottom of their physical problems. And this is 100% my opinion. Feel free to disagree with me, but I think an awful lot of physios are shit. They're not good enough. I
will hands up state exactly the same thing, and I am qualified as a physiotherapist. I will tell you now, the education I got at university taught me not to injure somebody. It did not teach me how to treat somebody or really how to get somebody better. The only reason I was successful in my career is because I actually trained myself and I understand the body. So I will back up that statement.
I mean, when I was at university, there was a degree program that ran alongside us, and you know, for me, they never the people that were learning this stuff about the body never really. A lot of them didn't have a huge enough passion, and I think you've really got to have a passion for physiotherapy and fixing people because it makes you really drill into the problem and understand it. Otherwise, you never explore it properly. So that's the first problem. People then don't really in depth understand muscles, bones, ligaments, tendons, fascia, like where it inserts. I've forgotten the name of the insertion and the help me
origin.
That's it. They don't really understand the origin and insertion, where the fascial lines wrap around, how the body actually biomechanically is meant to move, and all this stuff actually makes you a really good physio just by default because you can understand how the body moves and how it's meant to. And because of this, people never really get proper resolution of their problems. I mean, I've said to people, look, go and see a physio, and they've come back to me, and I'm like, I just know from listening to you that is not the problem. That is a ridiculous diagnosis. You know, the amount of people that go with a shoulder problem and they're just like, oh yeah, you need surgery, or it's a tight anterior pec. And I'm like, right, that's the simple stuff. Now get to the deeper stuff. Because I mean, the amount of people I've seen get shoulder surgery, and I'm like, I bet if you'd have seen someone really good, I mean really good, you would have got a shoulder surgery. And the other problem is people aren't willing to pay the cost. A physio, most physios, I don't know, let's say £30, £35 an hour. Bullshit. You can't get a good physio for that money. I've never found one for that money. I've always paid 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, 120 pounds to see a good physio, one that knows ART, how to unwind fascia, all this kind of stuff. It's absolutely essential. I get physio every week on my body. Now every week, purely I play rugby, I get a lot of knocks and niggles. I like to keep on top of myself, but also because I can't straighten my right arm. So because I can't straighten my right arm, I get tightness in the forearms, around the lateral head of the tricep, and I've been getting physio on that arm at least every fortnight for 9 years. 9 years I've been getting physio at least every fortnight, because I'm not willing to give up on it. I know how important it is. It keeps me ticking over. But I'm the same as Graham. I saw osteopaths, physios, all sorts of people for physical problems I had. I mean, my posture was wrecked. My glutes didn't fire. I had problems with my lower back. My neck was awful. I saw loads of people and they're absolutely rubbish. And it wasn't until I started paying about 50, at the time she was 50 quid. Her name was Janine Midgley. She works at West Yorkshire Physiotherapy Clinic. Fantastic woman, genius, was ex-GB, physio, really clever. I used to drive an hour and a half once a week as a student at university and pay £50 an hour for her because I knew how good she was, and I knew that I would just keep going to the same crappy physios and not getting any resolution where this woman could fix me in a couple of sessions kind of thing. So it was really important to pay. So that's my first thing. If you're going to go to a physio and they say, yeah, I'm 25, £30 an hour, walk the other way. I was speaking to someone just yesterday and they went and saw a normal physio and they started telling me their diagnosis and I was like, that's bullshit. That's not true. And I was like, how much did this guy cost? Where did he work? And it makes you cringe because then they've got to go and spend more money and find an actual decent physio. So, you've really got to spend some money. You really do. And I suppose Rachel...
I completely agree with that. And you know what? I agreed with your bold statement earlier. There are some fantastic physios out there who are amazing. You just need to find them, and honestly, you'll probably find them through referral. So you're just gonna have to start talking to people as well. Yeah, and you know what? Go by price, or like with anything, you get what you pay for. Certain things to look out for is actually is your physio in shape, and how long have they been doing what they're doing? Because if you've got a sports injury. If you've got a sporting injury, your physio is actually going to have to be in shape because it gives you some indication that they're training themselves and that they understand the mechanics of lifting and possibly then the mechanics of how you've actually done the injury. I've got a chiro over here. His name's David Stephen, and he's fantastic. He's actually one of the chiros to the Roosters, the NRL team, and he's my go-to guy. And, whenever I go in there, like I see Dave as like this, I put him on a pedestal because he knows so much more about the body than I do. And yet he's the one asking me training questions. And even to the point where he's so passionate about what he does, he sat in on a strength conditioning course that was being taught the other day purely because he wanted to know the mechanics of lifting so that he can treat his players better. Now, that is the kind of person that you're looking for, and that passion and that wanting to know more, even when you're at that elite level. So how do we find these physios and these chiros, osteopaths? Word of mouth, I think.
There's only actually about 4 people that I have in my telephone book that I recommend for people. And if, like, for example, if someone lives in Manchester, I say, look, there's one person I trust that's close. They're in Leeds. Are you prepared to make a 2-hour trip? Because I'll be honest, I think it's worth it. Because I don't know, of that many people. And the problem is, it would be probably very easy for me to put a shout out on Facebook or something and say, does anyone know a great physio in Manchester? And you're probably just going to get the same kind of drivel back. So, I only recommend people that I've been to, I've seen, I've watched them work. Qualifications, I think, for essential for a physio. I think ART is amazing. With any kind of ability to work with the fascia, work with tools, unwinding and releasing the fascia, I think it's essential because the fascia has so much involvement in movement and injury and tightness and adhesions.
I have to say, I don't actually know how I practice without ART. ART, for those of you who don't know, it's active release technique. You can go onto the website. I can't recall it off the top of my head. It's something like activereleasetechnique.com. And you can actually find practitioners on the website. Again, like there's practitioners and practitioners. So you need to perhaps try a couple in your area. But it's one of those things that active release technique is absolutely fantastic. And it's definitely one of those, it's fantastic for sport.
Yeah. See, injury actually really upsets me in the way that I see a huge amount of people that, and I see it all the time in my environment on a local level, clients that I teach, all the rest of it, and they're like, oh yeah, I've had this shoulder injury for a year, and I still can't do chins properly, I still can't overhead properly, or can't do this, and I'm like, I literally want to grab these people by the head, scream at them, and say, just fuck's sake. Just go and invest 150 quid.
Yeah.
Go get 3 sessions with a good physio, and I shit you not, you will be sorted. Like, I really, don't go and spend another 20, 25, 30 quid on getting a session and then not going again or whatever. Like, and the problem is all you get from these people is they're moaning. Like, I still can't do that. I'm like, do you want to train with me today? Let's do a session. I can only do half the program. I'm like, fucking go and get it sorted out, and then you can do all the stuff that you're complaining about. Is it actually that much of a priority that you want to sort your injuries out? I just please, if you've got an injury right now, you're listening to this podcast and you haven't really done enough. Do enough. Like, whatever your monthly spend is this month, you know, for going out and having a drink and a meal or whatever, go and spend it on a good physio, get the injury sorted, ask around, find someone that's got a really good really good like testimonials, find out what the qualifications are, because I hate injury. That's why I see a physio every week. Like, if I've got a tiny little niggle or a tight spot, I'm like, Paul, yeah, do that today, do that, right, get me out and get me 100% functional. You know, and this isn't something that I do because I'm, you know, drowning in money. You know, I do it because I put aside that cash to say my body's really important to me. I'd rather have physio every week than be able to go out on a Friday night and have, you know, dinner, for example, because I really value my physical function. Yeah. Go on.
I agree. There's a lot to be said about this. I mean, we were talking about this off air. How do we prevent this from happening? And I assure them this has been a school issue for Graham. You know, this has been happening since school. And when I was at school, all right, this was quite some time ago, but when I was at school, I can't ever remember having any advice on my posture. I can't even remember what I used to do in a gym. All I used to do is I used to play sport at school, obviously tennis, hockey, lacrosse, and everything else in between. But there was never any direct advice on posture, education, or anything like that. And you know, I went to a private school, I went to a good school, and there was still nothing like that. And I think that this is where education needs to come in.
So this is why I think actually strength and conditioning should be taught as part of a PE program in school, because I mean, I'm going to be honest, PE in most schools is bollocks. Like, I've worked in the PE department in a school, and this was a good PE department. It was at a private school. They were very well funded, you know, and it was still all about, you know, sport. There wasn't really much emphasis on movement, how the physical body works, all this kind of stuff. And when I was a rugby coach in this school, and it was a very well funded private school, you know, none of the, like, 85% of the kids could not move properly. They couldn't, like, if you got them to go, not to do a Romanian deadlift, but to go and do the movement of a Romanian deadlift, so be able to keep the chest up, arch the lower back and bend over. So basically all I'm asking them to do is have control over their posture. None of them could do that. And the reason why I noticed this is because I used to teach them about scrummaging, and not a single child that I taught could get into a scrummage position with a flat back.
That is frightening.
Yeah, all of them were stuck in kyphosis, so they had a rounded posture and were stuck there. And I just thought, no wonder all these kids, when you actually ask them, no wonder so many of them complain of lower back pain, because they go into a scrum with a rounded spine, hit their spine, it transverses all the way down the spine and keeps radiating at their lower back. You know, they've got chronically tight hamstrings, they've got forward neck posture, they've got lazy shoulders. And I got so many of the parents come up to me and go, "Oh, Charlie's complaining of back pain, like, what should I do?" And I'm like, well, no offense, he moves really badly. He's got bad posture, he's got tight hamstrings, he's got tight glutes. I'm like, he needs to go and see a very good physio. And not only that, he needs to get in the gym. He has to actually learn how to control his posture. He has to learn, and the reason why I'm saying this kind of stuff, he has to learn to squat and he has to learn how to deadlift, because he has to know how to activate these muscles. He has to know how to coordinate them. You know how to keep your posture under load, and all this stuff is so important. But all these kids are leaving school like a bit overweight. Their posture's taking 10 years of abuse, just sitting in a classroom and being slumped over and unmotivated, and then going playing sport and getting tight muscles in the wrong areas, like the hamstring and the chest, that kind of stuff. And I think there's one reason why I stopped working at a school, because I actually found it really painful, and I could do jack all about it. I couldn't even help. You know, it wasn't my remit to get involved on that kind of stuff. I was just there as a rugby coach.
You know, on a solutions basis for this, I mean, how is it done? I mean, is it something that a company needs to be created and put together where we actually, you know, you target private schools first and you sell them the solutions, and you actually get coaches in and you get them on a, I guess, a salary basis. You get coaches into these schools, and that is their purpose. But then, because most schools place, unless you're a private school, most schools, and I'm not talking about all schools, most place such little emphasis now on sport. It is ridiculous. In some schools in Australia now, sport is optional. So you can imagine now females, 13, 14-year-old girls, they don't want to do sport in school. Given the option, do you really think they're going to turn up to PE lessons? No way. What is the most important age? You're getting girls exercising between the ages of 12 and 16. Because that's the age that they start putting on weight, they start eating all sorts of different ways. This is a massive issue that really needs to be addressed. How it needs to be addressed, I do not know.
It's a problem. What people need to realise as well is a lot of these schools actually have more funding than you think they do. You know, people think that schools are always on budget. Like, think of a PE department budget. Once they've bought equipment, you know, their budget is a lot of the time unused. I'm getting drafted into a PE department in London and Norfolk in this autumn to go and teach their kids about nutrition and performance. I'm charging my full day rate. They didn't even blink. You know, the money's there to go and teach these things. And I think that's another reason I'm personally quite passionate about personal trainers getting control of their time and building a successful business, because I then think that the people that are empowered with knowledge can then actually make more of a difference to the UK. So most trainers work too hard. They're working from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. They have a couple of hours to train themselves, do a bit of admin, and they're training clients in the evening. They get home late at night, they do their food prep, and they go to bed. And they repeat that Monday to Friday and work a bit Saturday morning. If a personal trainer could optimise their work life, charge what they're worth, work a bit less, do some semi-private training to maximise their income, do all these things, it would mean so much to me if I was still a personal trainer. I mean, I do lots of community-based stuff anyway. I'm doing this podcast, which is pretty much community-based. You know, what effect do we have on the UK if a personal trainer could give up a couple of hours a week to go into a school and run a community-based program? So to teach them about lifting and posture and nutrition, and just run like maybe a couple of 6-week courses, or go and help out as an elderly community group. But there's loads of things I think people with knowledge can do in the community, and we're complaining as trainers that the people that are working in the community are not doing enough. But that's because they're not knowledgeable people. A lot of the time the NHS and government bodies pay for people to work in the community because that are underqualified, because they're the type of people that are applying for the jobs. But there's a huge amount of contracts out there. I mean, in Suffolk, where I live, the contract for the healthy lifestyle program is now going out. It's worth millions. Yeah. And I'm currently sat here thinking of applying for it, because the same people are applying for it. The same people are not making enough difference to people. The money's out there to go and help these things. A lot of the time, you might not even have to do this kind of stuff for free. But it's about talking to the right person, finding the right kind of gaps in this environment, and making a difference. Because I think otherwise, yeah, great, we're helping 20 clients every 6 months. Let's say every trainer has 20 clients and they recycle themselves every 6 months. Over the period of 5 years, you'll help 120, 150 people change their lives. That's cool, right? But if we started doing things in the community, we started running classes, running groups, and started to make people more aware, how many more people could we affect?
Totally. And the other thing is, I mean, there's a couple of groups in Australia now who actually do children's personal training. Again, they're private organisations. One of them over here, it's called Master Key Performance, and that's run by a friend of mine. And he is a PE teacher, but in his spare time, he sets up kids and family boot camps, and it's such a great idea, and it's really taking off. But we need more like that.
Yeah, I just think education of children is just so important. And a lot of the time, the stuff we're teaching kids, they're not motivated to learn it. But I think we're just teaching it in the wrong ways. We're not motivating them. We're not getting them to buy in. We're not getting them to look at the bigger picture. Just loads of stuff, really. I just think we can make so much of a difference if people kind of open their eyes to their options. But yeah, I mean, hopefully it's something that I can affect more in the future. But for now, you know, I need to stay on course. I need to keep doing what I'm doing.
For sure.
But I think there's a lot of people out there that can help and probably should help, rather than just
Absolutely.
complaining about it. I hate people that complain about the problem and do nothing about it.
Don't provide a solution.
Don't provide a solution.
Exactly. And just going back to what Graham was asking about his, you know, the doctor said that he's had IBS. Look, don't give up. Like, you know, one day I'll talk about my struggles with digestive problems, and obviously they're still ongoing. But I've had severe IBS since I was 12, and I have seen numerous gastroenterologists actually throughout the world. I've flown to the US. I've been back to London. I actually found somebody who actually really, really helped me. Was by the name of Professor Warwell, Peter Warwell, and he's in Manchester. He has helped me significantly. And so there are people out there to help you, and don't give up on it. Like I said, you know, there have been times where a lot of people don't know about my digestive disorders because I don't talk about it, and people automatically assume that everything is very easy for me. But it's not. So, you know, we all have something that's holding us back. And, you know, Ben, you just talked about your arm that doesn't go straight. Well, one of mine is severe digestive problems. And, you know, Graham, you were asking about whether posture affects digestion. Absolutely it does. Absolutely. But given everything else that you've said, I would, you know, I would not stop there and keep searching out people who can help you, because it will be something in your diet. Most probably we have to look at stress levels. There is a multitude of things. But if you know deep down what it is, then yeah, you know what, you're going to have to correct your posture. But don't stop. Don't give up, and keep searching for the right person to help you.
See, giving up's an interesting one, because a lot of people say, oh, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, fuck giving up. My opinion is, what's the point in giving up? Like, I mean that's just my attitude. If I want to do something, if I see something in my life that's not correct, or want to resolve it, I'm going to do it till I resolve it. And if I die with it unresolved, at least I did everything that I could to do it. I've been getting physio on my arm for 8 to 9 years now. I'm still going to keep getting it every week. I'm still going to keep working at it. I'm still going to keep trying to make it better. I'm at least going to try and maintain it, and make sure that my training, I can train as much as I can and do the things that I want to do. But I just don't see the point in giving up. If you want something enough and you've got a direction, then stick to it. You see the next person, and yes, it puts pressure on your finances. I was a student and did all this while I was a student. I started a business while I was a student. I saw physio regularly as a student. I still did the student thing. I just made it work. I was currently working between 3 and 4 jobs while I was a student. I did what I needed to do to make it work, and I just think, you know, we've got CT Fletcher on the show next week. I actually recorded the show with him yesterday. This is Wednesday. Yeah, yesterday. The guy's an absolute legend, and he always says, like, excuses are excuses. They're just that. If you want to find the path to what you need to do, you'll do it. It's as simple as that, and you'll make the sacrifices that you need to do. And sometimes it will take longer than it has to. Sometimes it's not ideal. Sometimes you're not in the perfect environment, but you'll do it. I got a girl who wrote me a beautiful email not so long ago, and she said, it's taken me 4.5 months to save up for an hour of your time, Ben. And I felt honoured, but I also implored her for doing that, and I gave her the next hour of consultancy for free, because I really wanted to give something back to her, that she'd made that commitment to herself to save up £15 a month and put it aside to have an hour's consultancy with me, because she saw me as someone that could really help with the problems that she was facing. And I just thought, well done. Like, you didn't go, oh, I can't afford it this month. She went, oh, actually, I'll just put aside what I can, and when the money's there and if the problems still exist, I'm then in a position to try and solve it. I just think that was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, like, you know, I had something very similar. this week, and it's just such a, and I'm the same. Like I would do my job for free. Like that's how much I love what I do. If I could, I would do what I do for free. But and this is the best thing, right, about business, is I see business as a point of when you start to get to the point where everything runs itself, and eventually I want to be at the stage where I can do things for free, and I have the power and the capability to do things like, just like what we were discussing, put programs into schools, get things going at grassroots level. The more money you have, the more you can give away to charity, the more you can help people. So I think, oh God, this is a whole new other topic for another podcast, but people's viewing of money of always it being a bad thing. It's not. There is so many benefits to having money that you can help so many people, but it's your perception of it and how you treat it is what is really important.
It's an interesting one, that. I wonder if that's, I would love to see that happen. People that, and I'll do it with my money when I, get more of it, and I've had my kids and I want to do more of my time and probably become a bit of a philanthropist, mainly because it sounds like a cool word. But, if there's people listening to this podcast and you've almost got money you don't know what to do with, like invest some in some school programs or something, like do something really useful with it. Sometimes people are like, oh, I want to do some good stuff for my money, I'll give it to a charity. Like, yeah, that's really nice, it's really noble, but this is me personally. I would want to see my money having a real effect. I would want to maybe get people together and go, do you know what, I'd really think this area of the world needs change, which might be a school program, for example. I'm going to give you this money, I'm going to set it up, I'm going to help you advise on it, and I'm going to put in the right people. And that way you really see your money work. And, I think that would be a great thing to do. So, if people are listening to this podcast and they're in that position, maybe think about that. Maybe think about not giving your money to charity, but actually seeing it work in the environment and having the effect that you want it to.
Local community. Anyway, I've got one more question.
Yeah, this will take 2 minutes to answer, so let's go for it and we'll wrap up.
Okay, awesome. This is from Neil Chamberlain. Hi Ben, I have signed up for the academy this time round and I'm really looking forward to receiving my nutrition plan. I'm due to have a shoulder surgery in the next week or so to repair a torn rotator cuff and tendon as well as a nerve impingement. I was wondering if you have any advice in terms of nutritional supplementation to promote healing and recovery. Keep up the great work on the podcast. I attended your seminar in Exeter last year and was inspired by the information you dispersed. Many thanks.
Awesome. I know of Neil. He is in the current academy. Obviously, there's probably about a 2, 3, 4 month backlog on this question because that's just how the world works. If anyone is listening to this and they're going into surgery, come back to our previous question. Make sure you've seen a really good physio first and see if the adhesions and the fascia and everything can be released and worked on before the surgery. Because trust me, if you can avoid surgery, you need to do it. You just have to. In terms of nutrition for injury repair, I'd make sure you're taking about 3 grams of vitamin C a day. You had a good, decent protein content in your diet. You were eating tons of fruits and vegetables, and daily you were taking on board bone broth, which is going to be essential to provide all the vitamins, minerals, and collagen for repairing tissue. And keeping processed food out of your diet, so it will help maintain electrolyte balance in the muscle tissue. And it will keep a nice pH environment. Apart from that, that's all I tend to recommend as a good basic application for injury prevention. Sorry,
Ditto,
injury repair.
I have nothing further to add.
Sexy.
Your Honour.
Right,
Did you just call me sexy?
No, calling myself sexy, of course. Right, that is a wrap. Thank you everyone for listening. This has been a Bonza show, hour and 10 minutes long. Huge, as we say in Suffolk, huge.
Huge.
If you like my work, please check me out, bencoomber.com. If you like Rachel's work, check her out, athleticfox.com. If you really enjoyed this, please leave a review on iTunes. If you've previously left a review on iTunes, can I ask a little favour from little old me? We've just started releasing the podcast on a platform called Stitcher. Now, we obviously want the podcast to grow and we want it to do really well. if you have left a review on iTunes, I would love it if you would either write a new one or copy and paste your iTunes review and leave it on Stitcher, purely because that will help us get recognised, get noticed, and the podcast to grow. The reason we've released it on Stitcher is because you can get it on Android, and a lot of people complain that they can't stream it live on their Android device. So this is why we've launched it on Stitcher as well. Please share it on Facebook, please share it on Twitter. Help this message grow and reach other people. CT Fletcher and his badass self will be on the show next week, and the week after, me and Rachel will be back rambling for maybe another hour again.
CT Fletcher is such a badass. I'm going to the US in September. I'm hoping he's going to be there because I'm going to call him. I want to train with him. And I'm like, yeah, he is such a badass. Like, he's wicked.
He's a ledge. He is a ledge. Yeah. And I think people are really going to enjoy that show because I've already recorded it and I know how good it is. Anyway, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Till next time, people.
Ciao.
Hey everyone, Ben Coombs Radio, episode number 90. I have a man today. He's from the USA. He is a man that I followed a lot more closely in the early part of my nutritional development, and we'll get to understand why a little bit later. But Doug Kaufman, how are you?